Hi, welcome to another episode of Partners in Progress. I'm Joe,
And I'm Liz.
and we are an entrepreneurial couple. We're married, but we're also decided that wasn't enough. We wanted to be crazy and be entrepreneurs at the same time. We also got 4 kids.
Yeah.
But we're both coaches. I coach leaders in real estate because I believe that a lot of times as leaders start to move up the ladder, especially in real estate, they start to lose some of that support. They start to lose some of that training and that accountability, and I provide that for leaders in real estate. Liz does something a little bit different.
Yeah, so I help moms that have children that have gone through or are going through leukemia treatment because a lot of times as the mom you're the main caregiver and you're pouring into your child and into your family, but you're not really pouring into yourself. So
Yeah.
I help with that.
And this is really crazy because when the day that we're filming this is the last day of our son's leukemia treatment. So
Yeah. Okay.
so she has been, I mean, we all have, but she has been through this from the beginning and now is at the not the end.
We're at a
She's
new
at
part
the
of
end
our
of the
journey.
treatment. We're starting a new chapter, and it's really exciting.
Mhm.
And she's gonna be sharing. I'm sure she's gonna be sharing a lot of her insights on what it looks like after treatment, because ultimately, I think so often, and I know you share this with a lot of your moms already. Um, I think a lot of times, especially with childhood cancer, it's so hard to see after,
Yeah.
right? And one of the biggest things to help you get through is being able to have that vision that there is another side. There's a
Right.
light at the end of the tunnel. So anyway, I thought I'd share that because I'm really excited. Today we had a big party, not a big party, but I mean we had a
It's
celebration with
family,
our
but
family, and we had some fun dessert and got a present for him and everything because it's a big deal. This is the last chemo,
mhm,
hopefully the last chemo of his entire life.
definitely
Definitely,
is the
yes,
last
definitely, yeah. So
Dominion.
that's right. So, but this week we're talking about relationships. Actually, the next several weeks we're going to be talking about relationships because what I've noticed, what we've seen, is that in in everything, from business to your personal life, to your health, to everything in life, relationships are the absolute key. They're the key to success. They're the key to fulfillment. They're the key to happiness. They're the key to your health. They're the key to everything. I mean, you name it, it all comes down to relationships.
Well, don't they say it's not what you know, it's
That's
who you know.
that's right.
So
Well, and there's
relationships.
so much truth in that. I
Yeah,
think a lot of people spin that to be like, well, it's who you can manipulate. But that's not really, I'm just saying I think that's how it's used a lot. It's like
sometimes, yeah.
who you can get in with.
Yeah, what can this person give me?
Exactly.
Mhm.
And that's a great segue because I think a lot of times that can be the wedge in a relationship is what can I get out
Out
of
of this,
this
yeah.
instead of what we teach, and we'll be getting into that here in a second, but what we teach is what can I give to the relationship, because that's a true relationships. That's
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Oh, I was gonna say sometimes, like it's mostly with marriage that they say this, but
Yeah.
marriage, they're like marriage is 50-50, and
Oh,
it's like, well, no, it's 100. Each person needs to give 100%. So why wouldn't we bring that into our other relationships as well, like our friendships, our business relationships, our children relationships,
yeah.
like even if like with a child, like they can't really give you 100% of because they
Yeah.
don't understand,
Sure.
but you can definitely give your 100% to them
Yeah.
and they will learn from you.
Yeah. And you're right. I mean, that's what you hear that in marriage, but I think that's one of the misconceptions is that it's like you only truly need to pour yourself into one relationship. And
Well, it's just there's different types of
sure,
relationships. Like obviously you don't want to be the same exact way you are with your spouse as you are with a business
Of,
partner or
of course
whatever
not.
like that.
Right. But
You're
they're
going to be
but
different.
the elements are the same, I guess is
Sure.
what I'm saying.
Oh,
Yeah. You're right. And each relationship requires a different thing. You know, you're at a different point in each
it
relationship.
may even be a different version of yourself, if that makes
Yeah,
sense.
I mean, you want to have congruity, you want to have integrity,
Yeah.
and you carry who you are from relationship to relationship, but you do adjust. And I
Well,
think
maybe like with your kids, you're going to be a goofball every
sure,
once in a while, and you're not
right.
going to be a goofball with your boss. That's that's
Well,
not
yeah,
going
it
to go
depends on the
very.
situation.
It's not going
Yeah,
to go great.
right. Well, and it depends on the situation too. You
Yeah.
know, that's all situational as well. Um, but we've developed this this framework, and I'm really excited to tell everyone about it because we developed this framework um, that we call the relationship web, and it's through I mean, you've been with me. We've been through 15 years of marriage. We've been almost 15 years, right? Coming up on 15 years. We've had 3 different companies. We've had
Four
we have
children.
4 kids, and we've had countless business relationships and all these professional interactions, and we've got clients that we have deeper relationships with.
We also have parents.
And I'm sorry,
We also
we
have
also have parents
parents.
and
Yeah.
everything. Yeah, where all of these relationships are connected. You know, there's that old saying, that old adage that no man is an island,
Mm-hmm.
right? You know, I think in COVID we lost sight of that. It made it feel like everyone was
Well,
on
well, it was
in their
funny.
own little island.
It was funny because they would use the phrase "we're in this together,"
Right.
but stay in your house.
Right.
Don't talk to people.
We're all
But we're
in
all
this. Yeah,
together.
we're all in this together, separated.
Yeah.
Um, well, I mean, COVID created some interesting opportunities, though. I mean,
Yeah.
you know, very few people did the virtual meetings. I mean, it was starting to become more of a thing, but the virtual meetings obviously are here to stay now
Yeah. Well,
because
you
it makes
can
it
reach
more
so many
convenient.
more people
Yeah,
that way,
absolutely.
which if you do it right, it doesn't make you feel isolated.
Right. If you do it right.
If you do it right,
If you do it right.
you have the right people.
Exactly. And you're not talking at people. We're
Yeah.
going to be talking about that here in a minute. But let's go back to the relationship web. So, like I said, I'm really excited. So, basically, what we found in like I said, in all of our relationships in the last almost 20 years together, all things considered, um, we found that there's a set of common denominators. There's a set of 6 what we call ties or pillars, basically like the foundation of a relationship, or like we like to really think of it as ties, because you can think of it like a web, right? If you have these 6 ties that are holding together, and you think of it as like a spider's web, right?
Mm-hmm.
And what happens with a spider's web is you've got the circle or semicircle, and then you've got the center, and then you have all these ties holding it together, right? All these webs holding it together. And when it's tight, if you've got 6 ties and it's tight, it's gonna be strong. That's gonna be a
Yeah.
strong web. But if you start plucking one of those off, or that one of them starts to get weak, then it starts to wobble, right? And it starts
Mm-hmm.
to get weak. So these 6 major ties of a relationship are what have to be focused on. You have to have strong ones, or else the relationship is going to start to falter. And even if one starts to weaken, then it throws off the web. It starts to throw off the system. So I'm not saying that we're perfect. We're far from
Well,
perfect.
we're
We're
all
working on our relationships.
well every day. There's one or more of those ties
Yeah.
that need to be tightened or need to be put back up because we take them down ourselves, or we let somebody else take them
Hopefully we're
down.
not taking them down altogether, but
Yeah, but
but yeah, they're starting
I'm just
to
saying we're just
weaken. Yeah.
like pulling on them a little bit, like,
Yeah.
or neglecting them because sometimes the spider has to redo the web, and we're
It's
just like,
true.
it's a
Good
little
point.
bit weak, but it'll be fine.
It'll be fine.
It'll be
Don't worry
fine.
about it.
I'll deal with it tomorrow, or
Right. and then by tomorrow it's dusty and it's starting to get loose and
Hmm.
there's strands
And
hanging
what
off,
you
and
don't want is for it to break, because then that's when you have issues.
that's when it starts to cause issues with the rest of the web.
Hmm.
And we designed this. I mean, we didn't design it, but we designed this visual and this framework this way on purpose, because the web, it all of these ties, they do play off of each other and they do strengthen each other.
Yeah.
Like if you only have two, it's not going to really be a proper
It's just gonna
relationship. It's
spin.
just not going to work very well. You
Yeah.
really have to have these six ties for it to be a strong working relationship. And the other thing that's really cool about that is that they they work off of each other and they strengthen each other, because when you tighten one, it tightens the other, and vice versa,
Yeah.
because it strengthens and it makes it strong. There's six ties. We've been talking about that. The first tie, can we tell them? First
I
tie,
don't know if they want to
the
know.
first tie is
Just-
trust. Um, and I know this one doesn't sound very unique or new to most people, because everyone says trust is the foundation of all relationships, right? Well, definitely it is definitely a very foundational pillar. It is one of the six ties, because you have to have trust in a relationship. Trust is the foundation for vulnerability, right?
Mhm.
You can't really show up in a relationship, and you can't really have a true give and take, a true pouring into each other without vulnerability.
Mm.
Because what happens when you don't have trust is it makes it feel like every step, everything you do moving forward is this massive risk, because you don't know if you're going to say the wrong thing, or you don't know if you're going to. Trust means that the other person is there for you. It's like my coach says, I'm in your corner.
Yeah.
I'm here to support you. I'm here no matter what. And when you have that kind of trust, you have that level of support. We're going to go into other, other elements of support. But when you have that, then you can be you.
Mhm.
You can pour yourself into the relationship. You can be vulnerable. Because if you're not vulnerable, you're not building anything,
Right. So trust kind of creates the safe space for the
right?
relationship.
A safe
Mhm.
space, and like I said, it creates that knowing, if you will, I guess, of support. Because if you know that I've got your back, then you can take risks. You can go out on a limb. You can go and you can do things you otherwise may not be able to do, because you have that support, right? And vice versa. I can do things
Right.
that, because the trust gives me strength. It makes it to where I can, like I said, give of myself, and you can give of yourself. And when we're vulnerable together, that makes us both stronger
Right.
together. A true relationship without vulnerability isn't a relationship, because if you're not opening up and being there for each other, then is it really a relationship? And like I said, we're not just talking about marriage. It's very important in marriage, extremely. But a this can be a relationship with your colleague. This can be a relationship with your kid. This can be a relationship um,
Your
with
employees.
your employees.
Hmm.
Absolutely, yeah, your team. Yeah, this all of these hold firm no matter what the situation is. So that's tie number one.
Okay.
And tie number two,
Tie number two is love,
yeah,
and that would be.
love is well, and the thing about love,
Hmm.
and like I said, this goes beyond just an intimate relationship. A lot of people will think that love is just either for your married, or your son or your daughter, or
Just
your parents,
family.
or
Yeah.
yeah, just your family, basically. That's a good way to put it. But it's not. True love, you have to give true love to other people. And I think in our society especially, we tend to think of love as just this feeling, right?
Right. Yeah, it's that weird feeling in the back of your head or
Right.
the butterflies in your stomach.
And that can be part of it. I mean, you could call that infatuation, but I think it's
They're
just
not the
the
same as
beginning of
love.
love. But true love
Mm.
is not just a feeling. True love is an action. It's giving of yourself.
So it's basically how you show up.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Well, and in a way, and that feeds off of another tie that we're going to go into here in a minute. But it's not a it's about wanting the good of the other person, right?
Hmm.
Um, it's not about trying to get. It's about giving,
So it's
right?
selfless.
It's selfless. True
Hmm.
love is selfless. And it, like I said, you want what's best for the other person, even if you have to sacrifice to get there.
So can
Especially if you
you
have to
can you give an
sacrifice.
example on how you can show love to a person that is not, um, let's say, your spouse or in your family?
Okay.
How would you show love to not necessarily a stranger, but maybe a friend?
Okay. How would you show love in that
Hmm.
situation?
Yeah.
Well, first thing, and I'm jumping ahead here. First thing is you have to communicate, right?
Hmm.
You have to know what is important to them, right? And then once you know what's important to them, you know what kind of makes them tick, you know what's a priority, then you take action to either help them develop, you help them move forward in their life. Maybe you help them whatever the situation is. Let's say it's like a team member, right? You if To show them love, you give them of your time, you give them resources, you give them even if it's gonna negatively affect you. So if it's like, okay, look, I got all of this stuff to do, but this is this is a member of my team. I need to make sure that they're getting the time, they're getting the resources that they need. And if I have to sacrifice something, then I'm going to, because I love them. I love uh, our relationship. I want to strengthen that relationship, and I want to make sure that they have what they need to succeed, right?
Right.
So instead of saying, I guess you can think of it as, instead of thinking of it as a transaction, you're just thinking of it as giving for the sake of giving
Without expecting
without
anything in
expecting
return.
anything in return, right? It's
Yeah.
like our coach, our mutual coach, our high level coach says, um, "What if you felt love when you gave it instead of when you received it?"
Yeah.
Right? Because if you're feeling love, yeah, I mean, obviously we do operate off of feelings, right? So love, the feeling of love is real. I'm not saying that's not real, but the action of love is how you feel it. So when you give love, then you feel the love, then everything changes, right?
Yeah.
So it really just comes down to giving them what they need without expecting anything else in return. But the funny ironic thing is, when you do that, when you pour into another person, when you give them the love and the resources and the time that they need, they will improve and you will get back. That's just how the relationships work.
The law of reciprocity.
Right. Exactly. Right.
Yeah.
So that's second tie. Second tie. The third tie is
Communication,
communication.
which we
And
were talking about, and she jumped
yeah,
to and then jumped back.
jump the gun a little bit. Um, but this one probably isn't a surprise for most people too, because they think, like, communication is really important in your relationship, and it is. Communication is critical, but there's a but in there. I I think and I think that so many people think, when it comes to communication, they just think talking.
I was
They
gonna
just think
say,
speaking.
our pastor this morning
Yeah.
was talking about how his wife really liked, watching crime shows and how
Oh
she
yeah.
started like reading body language. And what he doesn't know is that We all read body language.
All of
We all
us.
do. We look at the face. We
Yep.
look at how we're like, if I'm sitting like this,
Mm-hmm.
I'm closed off. I don't want to talk to you. If I'm like this, I'm open to what you're saying, type stuff like that. Or
We're
if I'm
we're
glaring at
always
you,
reading body language whether
yeah.
we realize it or not.
So we're all detectives.
In fact, I like that you brought that up because 7%, 7% of human communication is
It's
verbal,
verbal. Yeah.
is actually through the words that we say. 7%.
So what's the 93%?
So
Is
the
it
90,
all?
so then so then 30, let's see, 30, I think it was 37%. I don't know if I'm getting my percentages right here.
I
30,
just want to know which one's the biggest
so it's
percentage.
30 something percent was tone and timbre. So you know when someone's we're
We're
playing here.
both like,
So you know when someone says you're gonna know this. Everyone watching this has had this experience. I guarantee it. Right? I guarantee it. Have you ever had that experience where someone goes, "It's not what you said, it's
it's
how you said it."
Yeah.
There is so much truth in that, and over 30% of our communication is tone. It's actually the way we say something. And the words themselves only matter 7%.
Yeah.
7.
Well,
Okay, so stop thinking that well I use these words.
I
Why
use
didn't they
good
understand
words.
that way?
Yeah.
You're not coming across properly if all you're doing is using the words. You can use that in a situation where, like, have you ever been in a class or something where someone's talking like this? And now we're gonna go over this information. And now we're gonna, oh God, just kill me now. Right?
Yeah.
Right? That's if someone's not engaging, if they're not using their body language, if they're not using their tonality, they're not using the tools that God gave them, and they're just using the language. It's no wonder that
It's
nobody gets
boring.
anything out of the presentation
Yeah.
because all they're using is their words. And they think, well, I use the proper language.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's only 7% of how you communicate. I keep
Yeah.
interrupting you.
It's fine.
Sorry.
It's fine.
So 7% is actual verbal, is
Yeah.
actually the language used. Over 30%. I'm not going to try and get the percentages correct because I'll screw them up. But over 30%, like between 30 and 35%, is tonal, and then over 50% is physiology, is body language, like we're talking, is how you move your hand. But it's not just how you use your hands. It's not just your gestures. It's the way you sit. Like you said, if you cross your arms or not, if you move your eyebrows or not,
Yeah.
if you're looking down when someone's talking to you.
Yeah, we had some friends over for dinner, and my glasses kept falling off. They fall off a lot. So I was like, he was talking to me about
Mm.
some coffee, Cuban coffee that he likes to make, and I was
Oh
making
yeah.
weird faces because I was trying to get my glasses to stay on my nose while I'm listening to him and not like do this. I didn't think about the fact that how weird my face looked. He's
Yeah.
like, "What? Hey, don't knock it till you try it." I'm like, "What are you talking about?" But he thought I was giving him a dirty
Oh, I
look, so I
remember
was
that.
scrunching up
Because
my
he
nose.
thought you were giving him a dirty look for his Cuban coffee.
Yeah.
That did sound pretty nasty, but
Well, there's a lot of sugar. But that was besides the point. It was like I was making a weird
yeah.
face, and he's like, "Hey."
And he automatically assumed that was your body language,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, I should have just used my finger. But it's fine. It's just funny.
So anyway, communication, it's you've got the three levels there, right? You've got the language, you've got tonality and timbre, and then you've got the physiology, the body language. But it's not just about that either. It's about actually showing up for the person, right? It's about trying to understand, trying to. Uh, Stephen Covey says, "Seek first to understand, and then be understood." How many times are we trying to? How many times are we trying to just wait for till it's our turn to talk, right? I know, ironic since I interrupted you 2 times, I got a little bit excited. But
Just be like her coach. I'm sorry. I'm really
I'm
excited
really
about this.
excited.
I'm gonna just ignore. I'm just gonna not ignore you. What's the word? Interrupt you here.
Interrupt you. Um, but it's about, and it's even further than that. It's about active listening. Are you trying to understand? And that's one of the questions I use in my coaching, and that's one of the questions I ask myself a lot. Is I ask myself a couple of questions. The first one is, am I seeking to understand or just be understood? Another thing I ask myself is, am I listening? Am I listening to understand, or am I listening to just respond?
Mm-hmm.
And then if you come from that place, if you're actually thinking, am I truly trying to understand this person, especially if you're in a relationship with them, whatever that relationship looks like, if you're truly trying to understand, then you can give them, like we're talking about with love, then you can give them the resources then they need. Then you can give them the time they need because you understand what they need.
Right.
If you're just talking, what are the chances that you're ever going to understand what they need? You're not going to understand.
Not talking is also an option. Listening is also an
Well,
option.
that's another thing that our coach says. He says that he's he's an incredible guy. His name is Dean Graziosi, but he says that your most valuable negotiation tool is not this. It's this.
Mm-hmm.
Learn to listen first, and deeply and actively, and don't go like this all the time, right?
You need to throw them away.
So, all right. So that's the third tie. The fourth tie is appreciation. Um, and this, I have a kind of a controversial opinion on this, I think.
Okay.
I was actually talking to one of my clients about this the other day. She was she was pushing me because she was like, "What do you mean? What do you mean? How is it like that?" Because what I told her is, I said, I think that in our culture, especially the Western culture, that the words "thank you" have become almost self-serving. And let me explain.
Okay.
I think in a lot of ways we use that term to just get ourselves off the hook. It's like, oh, thanks. Now I did my duty. Now I can move on, right? Someone brought me, I don't know, replace the paper in the copier or whatever, and then you just say, oh, thanks, and then you move on. But you're not taking time to really appreciate the person.
That they took the time to refill the copier for you.
Right.
Yeah.
Which is part of it. Part of it is appreciating them for the action that they've done, but it's even deeper than that. It's appreciating them for who they are. One of the things that we found in our relationship was that when I expressed that I saw you, sometimes I say, I love you, I see you.
Mm-hmm.
It's like
The
the Avatar
Navi.
movie, I
Yeah,
see you, right?
I know.
But I know that is meaningful to you when I say I see you,
Mm-hmm.
because it's not just about what you've done anymore, right? Is that fair? Is that
Yeah, that's
accurate to
fair.
say? Because it's not like, thanks for doing the laundry, thanks for
Yeah.
helping with the kids, thanks for doing this. It's not just thanks for the stuff, for the actions anymore. It's, I see you, I appreciate who you are, and I do appreciate who you are.
Thank you. I
And
appreciate you too.
so do you understand what we're saying? I mean,
Yeah,
you
it's
understand,
it's
but
deeper
it's
than
deeper.
just thanking someone for the task that they did.
Exactly. So instead of saying, I don't think you should get rid of the term thank you. All I'm saying
Is
is,
take time to appreciate.
instead of saying thank you for doing this thing, it's, I appreciate you. That's why actually there has been a kind of a cultural shift in our language patterns fairly recently in the last couple of years, where people would say, people would do someone a favor and they would say, okay, thanks, I appreciate that. But there's been a shift, and I really like it, and I've adopted it myself. Was when someone will say, do something for you, and say thank you, I appreciate you, because then it's, I see you.
Yeah.
Thank you for doing this for being here, for being who you are. I appreciate you, instead of just thanks for that task that you
Yeah.
did. Right?
Like
Does
our
that make
neighbor,
sense?
when she brought over some stuff to us today,
Yeah.
I didn't even notice, but I did say that. I said, "Thank you. We appreciate you."
Yeah.
I didn't even notice I did that. It was just like automatic.
That's good. You're
I'm
already
just like,
learning how to do that. That's our web at work,
yeah.
right?
And
So
then I'm like, well, what else can I do for her for like what she's done for us? So
reciprocity,
I was
right?
like, you know, just mulling that over.
Yeah.
So
So that's one of the things. That's one of the quickest things you can do. One of the quickest. You can do this tomorrow. Is change when you say I appreciate that or I appreciate this thing that you've done. Change it to I appreciate you.
mm-hmm.
That's one of the quickest things you can do to start to strengthen this tie.
Yeah,
Change that one little language pattern.
just one word.
One word. So that's the fourth. The fifth tie is mutual growth. And we've already talked on one of our past episodes about growth. But this is a little bit, it's not different, but it's similar. Obviously, growth is growth, but it's important for you to grow together, because ultimately either you're growing together or you're going apart. There's no other option,
Right.
right? And I think that's especially, unfortunately, especially in marriages. Of course, I'm sure, I know it happens in teams. I know it happens in relationships with kids and things
I
too,
think
but
it's just harder with the marriage, um, or it's felt more as like a culture when it's a marriage,
yeah,
versus like, well, I was friends with this person for 20 years, but we grew apart.
grew apart.
But it's like, well, you were just friends, so it's fine.
Yeah, you're not really cultivating a relationship at that point,
Yeah.
right? And that's what happened. That's a good point, because that's what happens with relationships that are not cultivated. The relationships, when you're not strengthening the ties, they'll start to break.
Mm-hmm.
And eventually you can meet someone that you haven't seen, and you can see someone you haven't seen in 10 years, and most of those ties don't exist anymore. And so it's basically like meeting the person all over again,
Yeah.
right? Because you don't know what's happened with them, they don't know what's happened with you. You haven't been strengthening those ties for the last 10 years, and so you basically have to start over.
Right.
So, and so that's a good point, because there's no growth there. You're not growing together. You're not giving and taking. There's no growth there.
No
That doesn't mean
communication.
that you're not growing separately. I guess you are growing separately. You're growing
Right.
apart, right? But in order for a relationship, whatever that is, to truly operate properly, you have to grow together. Now, you're going to grow. That doesn't mean you have to, that, and I want to really stress this, that doesn't mean you have to be like twins. That doesn't mean you have to grow even at the same rate.
Maybe it's just like the mindset
A
of
lot of
growth.
it is mindset. A lot of it is the acceptance and the agreement that you both are going to continue to grow,
Mm-hmm.
right? That right there is can be a huge shift. Just like, okay, both of us in this relationship are going to grow. We are committed to growth together.
Mm-hmm.
And just that can make a big difference. I know it made a big difference for us when we finally sat down and said, look, like, we both need to be growing. Now, you are strong, massively stronger in areas than I am. And I hope I have a few areas that I'm stronger. But that's the beauty of growing together, is you have strengths and I have strengths. And when we grow together, our talents and our gifts can be used in tandem, or that can be used together.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean that you should be as strong as I am in spelling. She's a really bad speller. But that's not one of your strengths. That's okay. That's just a crazy example. But what I'm saying is as we grow together, learn to use your strengths and your talents to help the people that you're in a relationship with. You have a really impressive gift of insight. When we're talking things through, like what we're doing right now, you can come up with things that blow my mind. Like, I never even thought of that before. And obviously that's the relationship of, where iron sharpens iron. That's a true gift that you have.
Okay.
um, and it's one that you've been growing in. And as you've been growing in your insight, I've been growing in being able to utilize that insight to help me grow things, build things like the
but
relationship web.
but you're really good at taking risks, where
Yeah.
I like cower in a corner. So in
So
life,
it's a good thing one of us can take risks,
yes,
right?
or we'll both just be sitting in the corner eating ice cream and like
but
not
you
leaving.
help, but you help to temper that. Otherwise, I would risk everything and the farm just because that's who I am. I'm a
Yeah.
risk taker. That's what makes me feel alive. I see something, I see a vision, and I just go for it.
And
Which,
I
like I
come
said,
in with the
you
practicality.
have
But I'm
right,
saying you're very
exactly.
strong um in taking risks, but also like growing. You move toward that what I consider a risk, and you turn it into something beautiful.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Like moving to Florida, that was a risk.
That was a big risk.
Yeah.
Yeah, but we've grown together through the
Hmm.
process, and there's days when it has not been easy. There's
Well,
months
and
and years when it's not been easy.
be honest, sometimes we didn't want to grow together because we didn't really understand the web,
Yeah.
and that's when
For
things
most of the
got,
time, we didn't understand the web.
yeah. But it took a while for our web to get shaky, I think. I feel.
Yeah.
But when it did, it was like we had to rebuild it,
Yeah.
and it took a lot of time and
An
taking,
effort. And
yeah. We still have our days. Well, I do, definitely.
yeah.
But the point is that even when a web is shaken, maybe a little broken,
Sure.
it can still be mended.
It can be repaired. Of
Yeah.
course it can. Um, yeah, I about obliterated our web at one point.
I think we both did. We both kind of just
But I
started
think,
pulling.
ironically, I think that was one of the things that strengthened that one tie, the mutual growth tie,
Yeah.
because we realized in that process of almost obliterating our web, we realized growth is really important,
Hmm.
right?
Yeah.
Because we were growing so far apart that we were ripping the web apart.
Yeah.
And we realized growth is important. We are gonna grow. We we have to. It's one of the fundamental human needs.
Yeah.
One of the ones that Tony Robbins talks about in human needs psychology, which is one of the things that I've based like half of my teachings on. Just really incredible. Maybe one of these days we'll talk about the 6 human needs.
He just talks about growth too.
Yeah, but growth
Hmm.
is so important.
Yeah.
We will grow. We're either growing or we're dying. There's no in between. We're moving up or we're sliding back. Period.
Hmm.
So in that situation that we were in, because we didn't understand this, and that's I'd like to touch on that a little bit here and a little bit, but because we didn't understand how it worked, we were growing apart, and it was tearing it apart. But when we understood it, then we were able to start mending. We were
Hmm.
able to start reinforcing those ties. So growth is important. Growth is a need that you will automatically that will either automatically happen. You'll either be growing or you'll be dying. One of the two. Just make sure that you're growing together.
Yeah.
So that's the fifth tie, and then the sixth tie is one that I think is sorely lacking in our not in our relationship, but in now finally. Finally from my standpoint, not finally from you, um, but especially in this Western culture that we live in, the sixth tie is true presence. And it's something that is really, really missing, especially with all the distractions. Yeah. Right. I was actually talking to one of my clients the other day, and I told her that most people think that failure is the enemy of success. Not. Distractions.
Mm-hmm.
The number one enemy to failure, or to success, the number one enemy to success, even in relationships, especially in relationships, is distractions.
Right.
True presence is about being there with the person, being there for the person. And I want to add, even though we're having a conversation right now, I want to add that true presence isn't necessarily about having to say something, just about being there.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I think of a really potent example of true presence. When our son first got diagnosed with cancer,
Mm-hmm.
he was in the hospital 2.5 years ago. There were two different people that came to visit him in the hospital. And there was something really unique about those people. They came to visit him. They brought him some stuff to play with. They brought him, but the main thing that happened is they just stayed there and sat with him and
Yeah.
visited with him
Or play games
or
with
played
him.
games with him.
Yeah.
Two different people. I'm not going to name who they are, but you guys know who you are, and you're very special in our lives. There's two different people, and I'll add this too, because there were plenty of other people in our lives that were like, "Oh, it's gonna be fine. Don't worry about it. He's, there's a 95% survival chance, and God works everything together for the good of those who love Him." And it's like, okay, I know all this stuff intellectually, but this is not true presence. Will you please just shut up? My son is dying. Like,
Yeah.
that's how I was feeling, and I know that's how you were feeling.
Sometimes you
It
just
just
need someone to sit there and listen.
just be there.
It's,
And that's where the true
mm-hmm.
presence is. So back to the story real quick.
Yeah.
Those two people, they didn't give us advice.
Mm-mm.
They didn't try to foist anything on us. They didn't try and say, God's going to work it all out. Will you just suck it up?
Yeah.
None of that. And you know what? When you asked him the other day who he wanted at his bell ringing party, bell ringing means like when he's done with cancer. For those that don't know, when he's done with cancer, he gets to ring a little bell. It's just like a little, kind of like a little ceremony saying he's
Like,
done with his treatment.
yeah.
Um, when you asked who he wanted, those are the two people he chose.
Mm-hmm.
He remembers from 2.5 years ago the people that sat with him at the hospital.
Yep.
That is the power. That is the importance of true presence, of being with someone. True presence is about the energy, it's about the focus that you bring to the relationship.
Yeah.
And I think it is so neglected. Especially, like I said, we're all got our little phones, right? There's all these things that can distract us.
Yeah.
Even right now, we've heard a couple of weird noises outside while we were filming this,
Uh-huh.
but we choose to be present for each other, even for this conversation. It is critical to have true presence, and that's the power of it. A little boy that was 8 years old didn't even know what was going on. He don't know anything about the relationship web,
Mm-mm.
but he knew that those people were there for him.
Yep.
From 2.5 years ago, he remembers that.
Yeah.
Even if he doesn't realize he does. And I looked, I mean, there were other people that interacted with us, but those are the ones he wanted. And it was pretty obvious.
Yeah.
So that's the relationship web. That's the framework that we've developed through all of our ups and downs and our relationships and all of the good and the bad and the beautiful and the ugly and the everything in between. That's the relationship web. And in the next several weeks, we're gonna go deep on each one of these, because, like I said, no matter where you are, no matter what's going on in your life, no matter even if you're a mom that's going through, has a kid going through leukemia, if you're a leader in real estate and you're trying to find a way to connect deeper with your
Team.
team,
Mm.
relationships are the key. They're the key to everything. They're the key to success. I mean, if you want the key to success, that's it. It's relationships. It's learning how this web works. And that's the key too, is because when our relationship was falling apart, it was because we didn't know how relationships work.
Yeah.
And that's what we want to bring that's what we want to bring. That's the value that we want to bring, is we want to help you understand how relationships work, because if you know how they work, you can work on them. You can reinforce the ties,
Yeah.
and you can have incredible relationships if you learn how to reinforce these 6 ties. So that being said, we kind of went long, but this is a really exciting conversation. We've been working on this for a really long time, and it's so important. Um, we're actually setting up a an event that has some of this in it
Mm.
coming up soon. So stay tuned on that. We're really excited about that. So um, until then, we'll see you next week. Bye.
Bye.